Welcome everybody to the stream. Of course, this is the close. Thank you so much for joining us here. Hope everyone is doing well and you're having a good day. Obviously, crypto day, it seems like, in terms of the gains. A lot of alts, Bitcoin even doing well. My favorites, the polka dots, the KSMs, doing very, very well indeed. I'll just quickly click over to that. Ooh, that's certainly hit a resistance over here. You can see a pretty big gain over the last 24 hours. What was that your move here? And 14%, and it's backed on from another good day. Great little bounce off the previous resistance, becoming support. Not bad at all. Now, we do have some bad stories today as well. We obviously have some earnings that have gone haywire to the bad side. Let's just quickly talk about the indices to get started, though. US 500 is up 4629.9. Another fairly strong day here coming through. If we go over to the SPX, this will be where we're looking at it, everyone. This is really what we're watching and we're focusing on over the next coming weeks. And then, of course, the pullback that we think will eventuate if it does hit our resistance. We've talked about this now for quite a few days, and it seems to just be grinding higher and higher and higher and higher and higher in terms of where we're going. So people have seemed to have a lot of big percentage changes. Gaitus says no, Zillow, no. Yep, the earnings is no good. That's why I hate earnings. Let's just stay away from the earnings if you can. We'll talk about that soon. And Carl says, look back to May 2013 to see the last time the Fed announced a taper and how it affected the markets. To be prepared for tomorrow. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So I remember that. I remember the taper and what happened around that period. We'll see whether that ends up happening, but it's an interesting point. Look, the market's going to do what the market's going to do. As I've said, it isn't really about the taper itself. It's about what does the market want to do based on its current move, because they're just going to knock it around regardless. I mean, if it's going to be knocked around, it's going to be knocked around regardless. We do have a super chat coming in, which I'll answer very soon. And it's from Eliu Verzab. He says, I don't understand the overnight gaps down. RK, TDOC, QCLN, heavy buying into the close, then all tank in the AM. What to look for to avoid this? Well, RK hit resistance, so that's why it's no good. Thank you very much as well for the super chat. So that's why this, you can't really necessarily buy this component or say that this hasn't hit resistance. Also, RK, even when you're doing a technical on it, remember, it's just a whole bunch of stocks underneath. So realistically, is it going to be, a very strong technical signal? I don't think so. I never really look at RK from a technical signal. I put it in yesterday's video just because people are getting hyped about it. But yeah, I'm not really looking at it from that perspective. You're in resistance at that one. Okay, so that's what I would say there. QCLN, let's have a look here. QCLN, which is this particular, I don't think that's shocking. Well, it's been on a pretty big run. So say like, this is where you're probably not going to understand it. It depends when you're trading these breakouts, okay? When you're trading these breakouts, it really depends on what type of candle is on the left-hand side to what the next day is going to look like. I mean, you would take the close here and you would say, this is the breakout on QCLN. Yes, this is exceptional breakout. We have resistance highs all the way across. We've got great consolidation underneath and we break out. Yet the next day is down. And it's what retail traders get shaky on these kinds of things, and that they don't feel confident in their trade. We've got to ask ourselves the questions. Coming into this breakout, what happened? Volume increased. That's a massive tick. You have volume increasing here, and then you break out. Do you expect it fully to come back down and possibly test here? Absolutely. And that should be within your plan and within your risk parameters. Now, you're asking what happened yesterday. I mean, you're already in the middle of the run. So you've got to expect, once you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kind of hits into this area, then where do we just close? I mean, we closed at the resistance high. I mean, this is going to be where it starts to get shaky again, yeah? So I think that one just sitting in resistance. Now, TDOC's going to be a little bit different. So let's go have a look at TDOC. TDOC. Where the hell are you? Type it in. TDOC. All right. So TDOC never broke a new high. It's found little resistances here. I still like the stock. I think it's broken out personally, in my opinion. We now come back down, retest here, and then move forward. So again, why is this? If you want to avoid this scenario, the other two are hitting resistance. Hopefully everybody agrees. Chat, do you agree with me? Did you agree with those hitting a resistance? TDOC's not hitting a resistance per se, though you could say 151 is, or 150 is a bit of an area. It's just had 3 days of not closing above this high, which isn't giving it that momentum. So now it has to come down here, hit the moving averages, and then bounce back off and move forward. So if you want to avoid it in the future, look at the left-hand side. If you're on a resistance, don't do it. And if you're not breaking through some rejections, don't do it. If that's the way you want to look at it. Sometimes it will go up. Of course, this is not always the way it will be. But if that's the way you want to do it and you want to trade more of an explosive kind of move into the next session, you're going to be looking for things like this. Closure aboves. The next day is highly likely to be positive. Very certain techniques and very certain candle patterns, there are higher statistical chances. You start to go from 60% into 80% of chances of success for the next day being up or gapped above. And that will definitely help you. Carl Swartzwelder, $5. The market is going to do what the market is going to do. Perfectly put. Thank you, Tom, as always. Yeah, the market doesn't give it really doesn't care about any particular news. Remember, it knows full well that the Fed's going to taper. And back in 13, it had a hissy fit. So that's literally what happened. And then, of course, Rob C really probably answers as well. Taper wasn't priced in 2013. It was a bit of a surprise. This time the Fed's given loads of info. That's correct. And you're absolutely correct there, Rob C. Basically, the way it's standard is they've told the market, they've given it multiple months, and they've standardized it. If you notice, most of the interest rate decision changes after that point, 2013, after they started really letting the market know, the market would slow a bit, or it would have a little bit of a hissy fit earlier, and then it would generally just still power through those interest rate changes, as long as the actual economic news coming out was positive. So I think that's a huge point. The Fed's become better at letting the market know what's going to happen before it happens, and that is going to always change that. Murray says all those wicks on TDOC. Yes, all those wicks on TDOC. And then a few people are talking about the Floki. Anyone in that on the Floki? I have no idea if anyone's in the Floki coin. Where is this thing? This thing. Oh, okay, it's in volatility land. Yeah, too new for me. You know me. I'm old school. I like the. Let's have a look at the old dot just quickly here. Dot tether. Bam. Look at that. 52. But my favorite KSM coming through with the goods as well. So some nice percentage gains here and quite a lot of crypto. Quite a lot of breakouts in the alts as well. Look at the strength of this pattern. Look at the strength of this coin recently. Series of higher lows all the time. Fantastic. So what other things have we got today? Well, we have Tesla coming down a little bit and then regaining itself in composure. It looks pretty strong, I think, across the board at this stage. Not too bad. Really, we just still look to the 2-hour 20 moving average here for Tesla, and we just keep following it and hoping that it keeps going up. I guess if you're in it, just keep going up. Eventually, it will drop when it starts to consolidate. It may be there sitting there for a few months, so you've got to expect that after a stock goes on an epic run, it will consolidate a little bit. So that's something to be important of. And we'll look at probably the elephant in the room today, which is going to be Zillow. So if we check this out, it did not have what looks like a good earnings day. And this is the risk to your TA always from earnings. Now, of course, there was the dude or the person that said, he came out and he said, look, Zillow's houses are underwater. I think it was like a third of them or some huge percentage of them are underwater. That pushed it back down to resistance becomes support, and then earnings has come out and obviously stuffed the initial ramp. Now you have a few choices in this scenario just in the future, so you can think about it. Where is a little bit of a problem zone? 104. If you're hitting it before earnings and you don't wish to take this risk, you can either change to a different type of instrument, if that's your risk management, or you reduce your position ahead of earnings, wait for earnings, and then come back in if you if you do want to. The thing with earnings is it's all, especially on a stock that's being beaten down, so it's always a risk. Now, do I think and hope that this support holds? Absolutely. I mean, this support is very, very important for Zillow. This is $84. But here's the risks of earnings. I mean, technicals will get destroyed by bad results fundamentally. I mean, ultimately, you're buying a company, and these are some of the risks that can happen from these types of things. But look, it's holding up above the 84. Let's hope it turns around and maybe it isn't as bad as everybody thinks. But when you're talking about getting a recovery decline like this one, which is down 50% from the highs, you've got to expect some turbulence. So if you don't want this type of thing, this type of candle in the future, the only way to really avoid that is to take your profit early or scale out or use different kind of instrument, like maybe a buy call or something like that instead to limit your risks. And then, of course, you position yourself with a little bit better risk management. And that's really what Wall Street always talks about. So, yeah. John Moore says, do closures mean the same thing in crypto since you don't have end of day auctions and stuff and liquidity? Look, closures will mean something in every one of the markets. I guess weekly is probably one of the bigger closures for crypto markets. And then, of course, I still look at 8 hours and 4 hours and dailies. They don't mean the same thing, but they certainly are pretty damn good. Emma K says, we had plenty of warning about Zillow in the news. Yeah, I mean, we had definitely information coming out that was towards the negative side. But that doesn't necessarily even mean that the stock will continue to go down. There's plenty of times that the market will be like, blah, 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 negative, negative, negative. I mean, I think having a huge amount of houses under, no profit or being under the the red line, really, that's not really very good. And I think that's obvious. But yeah, this is the way we kind of look at this market. And we basically go, okay, if we don't want to take the risk coming into earnings, that's what we're doing. Is the technical still strong? Yes. Is it technically still in the break? Yeah, because it's come back down and retested that trend line from the top down now. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll keep watching it. And a bit unfortunate there. There was another one that came out okay today, which is, of course, GME, GameSpot coming back after that double bottom yesterday. Resistance, closed above, retested down, and now it seems to be moving up. 220 will be an interesting target there for GameSpot. So that's certainly one of those ones. Eli Collins says, I need to learn how to sell covered calls during earnings. That could work really bad for you, though, Eli, covered calling. Because remember, you've got to ask yourself the question is whether you want... Zillow has not reported yet? Oh, is it after the close? Oh, obviously people are selling the crap out of it because they're scared of the underwater houses. There's a lot of negative news coming out about it. Oh yeah, here it is, Zillow, after the close. Well, that's even more scary, isn't it? Oh, we'll see how it ends up playing out. Yeah. People are asking a lot of questions about what's happening to all these stocks. Look, guys, they've all gone up for a while, and then they are technically breaking back down. So give me one sec here. Yeah, so we've got here Square is not very good on the technicals at the moment. That's actually quite weak for it. So you've got lots of consolidation with a whole bunch of days that kind of were finding some support around this zone, 20-50 moving average, and then suddenly it closes underneath. That's pretty negative. That's ahead of earnings, 2 days' time. PayPal still continues to hold around that big support level. And then we've got things like Nvidia, which is doing well still. That's still ramping at this stage. Actually went through 250 pretty easy. Smoothed it. It's crazy, this stock. Larry Lonigro, thank you so much, Larry, becoming a new member. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. It's great. Murray says, might get that bounce on Zed. Oh, maybe. Maybe. Let's see what Emma says about the old Zillow. Jason said Visa and MasterCard reported the bad earnings and PayPal is suffering from that. Yeah, I think it's certainly one of it. And here it is. Guys, it says Zillow is selling 7,000 homes for $2.8 billion. Ooh, that's not good. And Thomas Otto says Apple to 162. Yeah, so Apple is looking fairly positive here, but it was looking a lot better when we were at 151. So we come into today's close and we're looking at Apple basically floating around that 150. Not exactly what we want to see from it. I mean, we've got a strong US Nasdaq almost at 16,000. We've got a US 500 almost at 4,631 and 32. It's getting up there with that 4,6 kind of 50 area soon. And we have Apple not really leading the charge here. In fact, if we think about it from the FANG stocks, Microsoft's back up, Google's back up, Amazon's floundering around this zone. So we'll see how it ends up going. There's really nothing here that's super strong in the big FANG stocks, that is. Let's have a look at Facebook for a second. And so not even Facebook. I mean, sorry, Meta Platforms Inc. Meta Platforms Inc. Has anyone actually come around to liking that name? What's my Apple price target? Yeah, I would agree that we get a new high. So my Apple price target would be a new high. In terms of where am I going to price target it, I'm probably going to go back over previous kind of pullbacks and just have a look at whether it did any fibs. I don't think it did in the previous ones. So because it didn't do any fib extensions, we're just going to have to go with rounds. Let's have a look here. So first one, 140-ish. Then it goes, what, 150, $20 increment. Guess for me, it's probably going to be a bit higher than 162. I'm going to go like a 170. Yeah, go a bit more greedy, I think. 165 would be the easiest call, somewhere around there. All right, let's take a look at PayPal. So the candles still continue to be not that great coming into the earnings. We have the weakness ensuing, coming back down to the support. We've got the wicks, obviously all over here, which was showing a lot of buying pressure. Over here, we have no signs of turnaround just yet. We are in what I labeled the green zone. But just because you're in labeled the green zone, especially ahead of earnings, let's go look at the daily. The daily is not nice. We haven't even had a green day. It's just like red, 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 red. Every time it gaps up, it just sells off. So because there's so much red days, what we're really looking for here is we're looking for the turnaround story. We're looking for the channel. We're looking for the lightning bolt. We're looking for the double bottom base and then the movement up. These are the things that we must be watching. And ahead of earnings, there's a lot of dumping still. This is still an increased amount of volume. Look at the volume increase in comparison to how it has been for quite some time. So PayPal is going to be all about earnings. And then after earnings, you still can resume the trend. Remember, you don't have to buy a stock so close to earnings if you don't want to. In fact, it's a big mistake many retail traders trade. I prefer to get involved before an earnings result, quite a few weeks if we see good technicals. And then I prefer to actually start trading again after the earnings result. Because if an earnings result comes out and it goes up, let's say even 10%, guys, what does it generally tend to continue to do? Let us know, chat. What's it generally contend to do? Larry says OLB Mastercard deal today. Sorry if already addressed. No, I haven't. I haven't done much today. Unfortunately, it's a little bit more struggled a little bit this morning, so we'll see what happens. Come on, PayPal, please. Yeah, you have to hope this level holds. Let's hope it does. The new word metaverse. What did you say about that? I'm buying MySpace. My goodness, Percy. No, Nomi says the word metaverse makes me throw up in my mouth a little. Oh, you don't like that one? Not a big fan. And hi, Tom. DE bounced up off support. Yeah, we'll check out DE in a second. What blows your account, Ozark? The old meta. And then SMUSA says IBB. Oh, well, don't worry. We're going to look at the Russell in just a second. Okay. So we know where PayPal is. We know where to spot it. We're going to keep watching it from there. Someone says Twillo going along. Well, Twillo is still hovering around where it kind of failed in the earnings. So it's still struggling a little bit there. Let's talk about IWM. So a lot of people are going to say, why is this not running already? You got to have patience, guys. You got to have patience. It's not always an instant reaction. Remember, did we really break the resistance? No. We have signs that things are looking very positive on this index, but we haven't broken the resistance. So I think this is hovering, waiting for the Fed to really announce whatever they're going to announce. Maybe even we need to see jobs numbers. Who knows? But this is still a very significant level here for the Russell. So the Russell 2000 right at resistance. It actually has bought back up today. It's now up 0.11%, which is not very good, but it's still floating around there. And a lot of it's going to come down to the weekly. And then we're not obviously going to get a monthly close, but you'll notice that we've never had a monthly above. You can see where the buying's happened, lots of wick purchases down the bottom here, and the significance of this channel. You can see it on every one of the timeframes, and that means that it's more likely to probably occur and to become that self-fulfilling prophecy. So I still really maintain this is going to be one of those sectors that if we can get through this 233, 234, we're going to have a lot of strength. The market's going to look a lot better. And then, of course, we're looking for something like this where we return back to that 260. So I like it quite a lot. Looks all right. Ozark says trading on earnings has blown the account. Yeah, trading on earnings is just, it's gambling in many ways. When you think about it, it's not always a 50-50. I mean, obviously, if you're doing correct fundamentals, it can be doing quite well into things. But trading, especially with tight stop losses and not knowing what your risks are, there's a different way of trading. Like if you buy a call, you know your fixed risk. Okay. If you place an order, let's say here, and let's say this was a stock and you're trading it, what happens when it goes bad? It could go bad 20 to 30%. Your stop loss may only be 2% of the stock itself. And then all of a sudden you're taking a monstrous loss. It's just not worth it. You know what I mean? It's too much. The gains can be great as well, but the losses can be epic on your account. And it's because you usually would be risking, let's say, your $1,000 for your 2%. So imagine how big is 20% all of a sudden? It's going to be $10,000 of risk. It could blow your account way more than you usually would be taking. So you got to think about the gap a little bit here. Murray says, I'm waiting for earnings to be over. So you just want to wait for that stock's earnings to be over. It's not so much that you want to wait for earnings to be over in general. There's two rules that I always look at in life. And that is that the market is generally optimistic. If you're buying indices, so let's say you're buying indices into earnings, what do you think predominantly will happen? Because remember, you're buying an index that's 100 or 200 or 500 stocks. If you're buying into earnings season, what is most likely going to happen during earnings season? Anyone know? Look a few of these stocks that you guys are mentioning. If you've got stocks that are actually breaking out or looking good into the close, let us know, but make sure they're good. All right, it doesn't look like anyone's got the answer to this one. So basically, if you're buying indices into earnings, they're actually usually going to go up. You don't have that. People like indices for a good reason. So do I. You don't have that specific stock risk as much. I mean, yes, the FANG stocks are in there kind of pushing it around, but in general, the earnings beats will usually be 70% plus. So indices will usually go up. But if you're buying specific stocks, you're getting, especially ones that are looking tasty, as in recovering from dips, you're actually coin flipping a lot of the time because they were down for a reason. So you're coin flipping a lot of the time on earnings. You wait for the earnings to come out and then you can get involved in them if you choose to, or scale in, scale out, that kind of thing. All right, let's check out some more stuff. We'll look at the biotech sector, very strong. Love the biotech sector at the moment. All of the biotechs looking quite good. And of course, the base has clearly been formed on the sector itself. Like you can see the breakout here. You can see the retest through today's trade. This has been a bit of a sleeper sector for a while. So yeah, fantastic. Very nice. I like it. Good. Good stuff. Muhammad says, Tom, check MLM, please. Strong breakout. Let's have a look at MLM. Yeah, very nice breakout. You're correct. Coming off consolidation in the resistance. This is one of those ones you can actually grab for the day trade. And it's because of the left-hand side, Mohammed, that makes a big difference here. So, yep, it's broken through, gotten above that $400 key resistance. We know it's traded relatively technically before because it had nice little bases here and it's had nice bases retests. Seems to probably a lot of the time come back and retest. So I wouldn't be surprised if it does this and then that. So you can watch that one now. But yeah, great breakout. Very nice. Great. Mark Wilkins says, morning, Tom. Found a shipping stock that I like. Zim. Can you give a TA opinion on it? Sure, man. We'll have a quick look. Zim. So far, fairly decent TA on the 4 hour. You get the triple bottom. Broke through, retested. Don't know why it took so long here. It's kind of created another triple bottom. Then it's broken through again. Target would be $60. At this point, there's no reason to say anything looks negative about this stock. It looks mostly positive. Also, thank you so much to the almost 600 people joining us here today for the live. We do appreciate that. Appreciate it quite a lot. Zim looks pretty okay. Let's have a look at the daily close. Yep. And let's have a look at the weekly story. It's pretty good. There's obviously that fake trap, which is the weakness candle here, followed by the bullish strength. And that gives you a bit of hope that it's also looking fairly good. Don't know the company. It's an okay position, I would say. People want to look at TLT. I'm not sure particularly why, but yep, it is hovering around. So I guess you like the technical resistance, support, looking for a break past here. And yeah, TLT still hovering and holding the correct area. This is the 20-year bonds in the US. So it still looks pretty damn good. Nothing too shocking there. Ryan W says, wish I bought NVAX calls, knew it would pop. Yeah, NVAX had a massive day on it in the previous session. And then, of course, now it's had a massive day on it again. Thing is, though, it was pretty low. So this is the problem again with owning some of these stocks. So over here, it popped, or technically should have popped, and then it failed because, of course, the fundamental news was pretty nasty towards it, and now it's looking quite good into the earnings. And people really want Pfizer. I know it's up today, and PaySafe as well. So we'll have a look at this. PaySafe and Pfizer. What is going on with PaySafe? So I don't really see anything great on PaySafe. We're looking for lightning bolts here through the 50. I think we talked about this yesterday. Yeah, I don't really see anything particularly I love about it. It's very low. It's got 50 exponential moving average, kind of needs to get through there, and no lightning bolt at this stage. So let's have a look now at Pfizer. Hey. We'll do Neo in a second. Wasn't Pfizer up more? Or am I being an idiot? Huh. Oh, nothing here on this stock. Let's have a look at Neo. Daily. All right. So Neo has 2 okay days. It's come back up to the daily 200 and found resistance. Does look fairly promising here. Bit of consolidation. We hoped at this point we would continue to get ramp. We didn't really get that. We're kind of just following around. Let's look at this from an objective standpoint. Let's get rid of that for a second. Jeez, so much noise. Can we go to the weekly? Maybe clean it up. Just trying to clean this chart up. It's so dirty. Okay, so a lot of people will call this an inverse head and shoulders. They're going to be drawing it this way. This is the only way I can really look at it at the moment. So we'll get the trend line out. Okay. If you take the distance then from the head to the shoulder, this is what a few people will look at. Let's see. Bring that through and extrapolates out to like a 52, which is a good sign. 47 or around this 46, 47 area is certainly a big problem for it. This is a okay closure for Neo. It is well behind, of course, the competitors like Tesla in terms of the stock price. It used to run with it a bit. Got earnings in 7 days, so maybe there'll be some optimism into the earnings. It could be worthwhile watching. This is not exactly the close you want. And we have obviously closed by now. It's not exactly the close we want. And I think today's the story is there's a lot of stocks that even in the aftermarket aren't exactly ramping. Like you look at my watch list here, there's nothing here that's like, wow. Like, I mean, look at Apple's close, 150.02. I mean, does it get any more annoying than 150.02? No, it's exactly where you don't want it, 150. There's a lot of stocks here that didn't really close above levels. The biggest standout to me has probably been the biotechs today. Biotechs. Ah, there's the Pfizer stock. What was I doing before? I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was up 4%. There we go. I don't really trade Pfizer. I guess I own it through biotech fund. I don't really look at this stock from a technical perspective. It's a big break, earnings. That's really it. I like the biotech sector. I'm not sure if I love this stock. I mean, technically, it's not really a very strong kind of compelling storyline or anything like that. You've got weekly turnaround. You've got an engulfing candle down here, gets back through the 20 and then moves up. Let's take a look at Zillow into the close. We do have a couple of earnings coming out. So let's see how bad Zillow is going to be. Oh, yeah, it's bad. All right, that's very bad. %10 down. The earnings. 78.60. Ooh. Oh well. Looks like that one will have to go back to the drawing board in terms of it'll need to do a lot of recovery again to fix itself. That's why earnings season is not good for the trade. 11.12%. Ouch. Not the best. All right, let's quickly go here to earnings. Take a look at what else we got. We've got our favorite Blizzard, the Devil Blizzard company. Let's have a look at Activision. 0.67 down 2.12. So let's just have a look at this on the smaller timeframes, daily. That's true. Yeah, but we'll do DE in a second. We'll do DE in a second. Don't worry. Activision coming into the earnings, it just didn't look that great. It did have the recovery, which I think Ulrich was talking about on this, and Ulrich has something he wants to share as well. So I'll check it out in a second. It did buy up, and then it's come right back down. It's floating around this level that it needs to bounce off. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Post market 0.22% down at this stage. Let's have a look at the weekly. The weekly story is mixed. It doesn't have those continuation of strengths. Remember, picking a bottom off a 50% or a 20% decline or anything like that is never going to be easy. There are techniques you can use to be more correct. But yeah, picking the bottoms can be, it can be a little bit tough. You've got to use scaling to make sure you don't stuff yourself over. Scaling will always fix it for you. Lunch Money says Zillow has 1.17 billion worth of homes and it's in the balance sheet and 66% of them are under the water. Buy till next quarter. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Barack says Activision beat though. Yeah, Activision's a devil company. It's got some shocking policies at the moment. We'll see. And I'm not just talking about from a human standpoint. Some of their work on the games is just so bad. Anyway, but that company is what it is. John Deere, people asking what's going on here. Let's have a look at the daily. Actually, not bad on the close. This is still a very strong kind of candle setup. So we've got here resistance, closed above. It's come back down, retested it. It's bounced a little bit. I still like this. I think it looks good. Obviously, stops from many people will be here. That looks fairly nice on the chart still. Nice little inverse head and shoulders. It's come back down, sure, after a day of fairly good breakout. And I would hope that tomorrow is positive. Should be positive for this. So John Deere looks still very good on the charts. ETH new all-time high. Yep. So ETH is going to be a little bit stronger than BTC at the moment. Great double bullish candles into new all-time high. So if you look at the ETH versus BTC, there it is, ETH versus BTC. You'll notice it's done the recovery that we like to see. Downtrend, snapped off, double bottom created, bullishness. We could see a little bit of altcoin season happening here, and we're already starting to see it. Very good. Zillow will more likely do a fire sale, and that will impact the real estate market. We'll see whether that does end up happening. Is FO ready to whip up again? FO being water resources. Yeah. Water has been quite a significantly decent purchase over the last little while. Got the double bottom, got the recovery, and at this stage it looks like FO is going back to that 59, 60 kind of area. And then whether it will make a new high or not, we don't know. But at this stage, it looks more than likely. But yes, you can see the sectors here. This is why I like sectors so much. I love sector rotations. It does reduce your risk. Real Wolf on Wall Street says, crash seems imminent. Ignore permabull. Guesswork stuff. I don't think there's any reason to consider that a crash is coming unless you see it on the technical charts, man. Unless the price action actually shows you that. You're better off being an optimist than being a pessimist in the markets in general. Square before earnings. Yeah, we checked out Square just before. So look, guys, it's a bit of a mixed day. I mean, in some ways it's a wash. It's mostly all about crypto. If you look at the crypto markets, a lot of things are really starting to move through. This one's certainly a sleeper, isn't it? Old Cardano not doing so well for some time. Ethereum, new all-time highs. Bitcoin coming back up to the resistance. Maybe it'll continue to float around. KSM, Polkadot, really big trades there that have done very, very well. Other coins doing very, very good. And it looks like we're in a bit of an altcoin season ahead of hopefully what's going to be consolidation and further bullish breakout from Bitcoin. The indices themselves were pretty decent, like 0.34% and 0.4% are pretty strong. And they go continuing into our bigger ascending channel ideas. Apple sucked because the thing couldn't get really above 150 properly. 150.02 ain't a great close for it. It'd be better if it was back at that 151 like it was before. And what else do we have? I mean, really, we have Tesla coming back down a little bit, expected after huge amounts of moves. Doesn't mean it's crashing or anything. Look at the 2-hour 20 on that. IBB, the biotech sector, really coming back into life. Certainly looking one of the stronger things. We've got Zillow doing a pretty bad kind of earnings result. It's got support around 84, so it's picked up a lot since where it was. Buying the dip on this could be very dangerous. So in terms of, you don't necessarily want to buy the dip on a really bad fundamental. You just want to look and see what the technical does on it. So if it does pick back up and it ends up opening above here, well, that's a good sign. And hopefully it can continue to recover. But remember, it's all about the technicals in many ways. It needs to hold above 85, and we'll see where it opens through the next session. Is there anything else? Materials have done okay. Johnson & Johnson, which is something I've been watching for a while, finally had a decent session on it today, and we're looking for it to break through. Another one that should have gotten above this 166. 166 breakout here is very compelling for this stock, but it hasn't done it just yet. Neo improving. John Deere still looks pretty good. And there were a few other stocks that we want to look at. So let's look at this one for Shogun. He says ASOS. Let's have a look at ASOS. Kind of floating down, holding around this level. And let's have a look here. I think I'm on the wrong ASOS. Yeah, that looks much better. Just having a look at what someone sent me. That's a good base, whatever this is. So yeah, nice base, good closure. Obviously, great trend that ensues. So this even has Wyckoff. So it has that Wyckoff theory of maximum pain. There it is. And everything that happened after that's very similar to a Wyckoff theory base as well. So nice stuff. Yeah, good. Lodowski says Zillow permanently stopping its business of buying and selling homes. Also, model didn't work. Out of interest, is she still holding it? Didn't she hold this thing? I don't even know if she holds Zillow anymore. Did Kathy have Zillow? She did, didn't she? Yeah, 12. Number 12 holdings. Ooh. Cameron Chevalier says, I missed the super chat. Sorry, sir. Let's have a look here. Cameron, $2. Which is the best TA between INMD and ISRG? Let's have a look for you. In mode, 98 bucks. Breakout past 9. This was good, but didn't really come back for you. So that had a nice breakout on it. Not too bad. I quite like it. Let's compare it to your other one, which is ISRG. This is the stronger chart in general. Where it is currently, I would say this is looking towards breakout, but that is a much stronger setup because you have a great consolidation right at the resistance. So you have the basing, which is very similar to this basing. My favorite trade here, though, would actually be grabbing this bullish hammer for the day trade. I like that a lot. That resistance, or if you call that resistance, you get the bullish hammer pickup. It's a good trade there. Very nice trade. But in terms of overall strength, this chart looks stronger recently. Coming into it, let's have a look. Coming into the consolidation, this has been the stronger trend. So it's a much of a muchness, pretty similar kind of setups. I like the consolidation and the breakout. Shows good consolidation for a while. September into October into the break. This one is August into where it is now. So it's been down for a while. Remember, that's a weekly. If you feel like you missed this one, all you're really doing is just waiting for it to get through that high again. Trade-wise, you could probably take a fib extension and push it out to a 161. Not bad. Pretty good. Yeah, Jason, I got Pfizer before. Thank you very much. And to answer the question, they're both pretty solid. I like the consolidation here into the breakout. I find that very strong on the breakout itself, and I like that particular section of this trade. Car was mad. What triggered that? Let's have a quick look at car. Wow. Oh my goodness. 175 to 542. What? That's on the weekly. That is mad. Well, earnings triggered it. Oh my God. That's a sugar high. Look at the sugar high. Car to the moon? Nah, car to the dirt eventually. But yeah, follow the trend, I guess. What the hell? When was it? I remember what this stock was once very expensive like this. Is this like a reverse? Is short squeeze only? Wow. Yeah, kind of looks like it. That is quite insane, guys. So we'll leave you with this, and it's pretty damn psycho. Tom, you're deaf wrong about Teva. They just won a 50 billion lawsuit against them. They paid off billions of debt, bringing DE ratio to 3.5. Well, I'm not wrong about Teva. They did have lots of debt, didn't they? So if they had crap loads of debt, remember my analysis on Teva was from years ago. So how I wouldn't know when they won the lawsuit or not. I remember it over here, and it was a debt-ridden hole over here. So that's when it was debt-ridden, when I was watching it over here. This is when Buffett bought it. So I'm not wrong. It was debt-ridden. If they won a lawsuit, cool. If they're paying down debt, well, that's more positive towards you. But still, the price action has not really shown incredible strength here just yet. Now, you're looking at it from the $10 standpoint. You got that downtrend that's come through. You got a bit of resistance there, and you have a very nice little channel. So if you like the stock, don't listen to what I have to say about it if you don't want to. I mean, I personally haven't looked at the fundamentals. From the resistance support side, all you're doing is just waiting for it to break out and then take it for the correct direction. Nothing wrong there. DG says, I sold car last year since it wasn't going anywhere. Oops. Didn't you say avoid Teva? From a investment perspective, I'm not a fan, no. But I mean, again, look, there's so many stocks. How can I know every single stock? I just know what I looked at over here. I thought it was a piece of crap. When was that? 2018, 2019. Is it still a piece of crap? I don't know. It was. It has continued to be a piece of crap since then. If they just won a big lawsuit and paid off their debt, well, they've fixed one of their massive problems. It's not for me. I'm not going to go buy it. But yeah, the technical is the little channel. Lucas says Zillow went down another 11% after hours and then right back up. Yeah, so we were watching that before. It definitely went down quite hard, and now it's back to flat. So as long as it holds around this 80 little 5 kind of area, that's good news. But yeah, what a wild ride. Hey, and this has been the earnings story of the last 2 weeks. We've seen Twitter. Remember, Twitter was up, down. Twillo was the worst because TWLO, it went up like 10% and then fell 22%. That's wild. I don't know what was going on there. No, I'm not going to look at an ND, but I appreciate your comments. I know PE is 3. It's just not for me, man. But that doesn't mean other people can't look at it and continue to be in your conviction. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the PE ratio is 3 for a reason, though, I'm sure. And if you think it just changed, that'd be very important. Zillow fired 25% of their workforce. That's horrible. It's not great, is it? Wonder if the algos are going for stops after hours. I would say so, yes. Co says, Tom, don't kill me. I grabbed a YOLO out of the money call on Zillow just for fun. If you've priced the correct risk management, what's wrong with that? All right, guys. Thanks so much. I appreciate you coming out today. Sorry it was a bit of a random day, but that's just the fact is that the market was kind of flat and round and doing its own thing. I mean, yes, it's up. The crypto market's much better. But in general, I would say that a lot of the stock that we were waiting for closes did not occur. So it was just kind of like a bit more of a consolidation pullback day. Still some strength in things that we've been talking about. I'm still not lost on this one here. Zillow, unfortunately, was a wash in the earnings. It is what it is. And maybe it'll even bounce tomorrow based on the fact that it's come back right back up there. And nothing else was really compelling other than the whole sector of biotech. That was pretty damn strong. All right. Thank you so much, guys. We will see you tomorrow and appreciate you coming out. Bye for now.